Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to make a coffee cup sleeve using Cubify Invent. In this project, I'm going to demonstrate some basic revolve and finishing techniques. As you can see, I have the Cubify Invent program open, but first we have to make sure that your default units of measurement are in millimeters. So first, let's left click on the Cubify Invent icon in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Choose Invention Properties and verify that the units is millimeters. If it's not, use the drop-down box to select millimeters and then select Apply and close the box. Since I'm already in millimeters, there's nothing to apply, and I'm just going to close the box. Okay, so the first thing is I've labeled my model coffee cup sleeve 0.01 with today's date. So let's get started. First, we'll create some reference points to use in drawing construction lines. Just place the points with approximate distances because we'll put in the exact distances later. To do this, we'll click on Activate Sketch, the YZ plane, and now we're in the YZ plane as you see the Y axis going straight up and the Z axis going to our left. We're going to create some reference points, so we'll left click on Reference Line, and we're going to start with the origin and place the crosshairs of our cursor right over the origin so that the crosshairs mix in with the two axes, and I'm going to left click it and I'm going to go up roughly 32 millimeters. Left click it and then I'm going to go up again roughly 5 millimeters. And now to get out of the reference line function, I'm going to pull it off to the right and I'm going to hit the escape key. I'm going to go back again and select reference line, go back to the origin again, and now we're going to go to the left along the z-axis approximately 40 millimeters. And then we're going to go straight up again approximately 40 millimeters. Left click that line and we're going to go up again another 5 millimeters. I'm going to hit the escape key to get out of the reference function. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our exact measurements. We're going to select left click make dimension. We're going to go back to the very first point that we clicked and we're going to go to the second point and click that. And now we're going to pull the box to the right and down and we're going to left click it and we're going to put in 32.5 millimeters. You may have noticed that as soon as that happened, that point moved. Now I'm going to do the next point. I'm going to click point number 1 and I'm going to go to point number 2. Click on that, pull the box to the right, and we're going to put 5.0 millimeters. What we're going to do is go back to the origin. I'm going to go over and click the third button we used, pull that down, and we're going to say that should be 40.0 millimeters. And look at it move to the left. So now we're going to click that point again, put 40.0 millimeters there. And then the last point, we're going to click the fourth point and go up to the fifth point, pull that to the left, left click it, and we're going to make that 5.0 millimeters. So now we've got 4 points that we can use to make our construction lines. Go to Sketch Figures and Line Draw, and we're going to connect all 4 of these points into a closed structure. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my crosshairs right over the first point, wait for it to turn blue, and I'm going to left click it. Then I'm going to go to my second point, wait for that to turn blue and the crosshairs to join the axes, and I'm going to left click that. Then I'm going to go to the third point. Again, wait for the point to turn blue, so I'm right over it. I'm left click that. I'm going to go to the fourth point, left click that, and I'm going to go back to my original point and left click that. At this point, I'm going to hit escape and get out of my line drawing function. What I'm going to do is I'm going to deactivate sketch. And now what we have in our 4 lines that were red are now turning blue. What that means is the computer's looked at this little sketch and it has determined that it's closed and able to be used in the next operation. We're going to revolve this sketch around the z-axis. So we're adding material, so we're going to do boss, add material, revolve, and left click that. Since the sketch that we just completed is sketch 1 and is blue, it's guessing that that's the sketch you want to use, so you leave that there. It's also guessing that you want to go all the way around 360 degrees in your angle, so you leave that there, but it doesn't know the axis around which you want to resolve. To tell the computer the axis, you take your cursor and put it over the access box, left click it and cause it to turn blue, and then you go over to your z-axis on your feature tree and you click that, and the computer guesses that you want to go around the z-axis, and in fact that's what we want to do. So we click OK. And this is really cool because we've now used a 2D sketch to create a 3-dimensional structure. To investigate that, let's view it and make sure what we have is what we intended. So I'm going to go up to View and Measure. I'm going to go to select, left click, rotate. I'm going to bring my mouse cursor down into the operations panel, hold the left button down, and I'm going to move the mouse around so that I can look at my structure. At this point, it's smart to save your work so that if you make a mistake in a subsequent stage, you don't have to, you can go back and recover it. So I'm going to go up to the icon and I'm going to left click the front view so that it's my coffee cup sleeve is sitting on the XY plane pointing directly toward me. Then I'm going to go and Invent icon. I'm going to select Save. Now that file is saved, but I don't want to work on that file. I want to work on another file so that I can recover my work if I mess up. So I'm going to left click on the Invent icon again, and this time I'm going to choose Save As. I'm going to go back and change my O1 to an O2 and click on the Save. And you can see up on the top of my model, title of the model is now Coffee Cup Sleeve 02 with today's date. Now this is another really cool trick that you can use. We're going to look at the edges, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give select an isometric view of the coffee cup sleeves. So I left click isometric view, and now I can see my outer ridge and my upper lower ridge, and notice that they're kind of sharp and I want to kind of smooth them off. So we do that with fillets. So what I'm going to do is go left click part modeling again. This time I'm going to choose fillet, okay, and I get a fillet dialog box. The radius that it assumes is a 0.5 millimeter. My wall of the coffee cup sleeve is 5 millimeters wide, so I'm going to increment that to 1 millimeter radius. As soon as I do that, I'm going to now take my cursor point and put it as close as I can of the outside edge of the coffee cup sleeve. And I'm going to left click that and see that it turns black, and edge 1 is shown in the fillet box. Now I'm going to do the same thing, bring the cursor as close as I can to the inside edge, and I'm going to left click that and watch it turn black. Edge 4 is now in the box. Now I can't see the bottom two edges of my coffee cup sleeve, but here's another really cool trick. I'm going to go over, left click the down box, and instead of choosing the isometric view with the dot in the upper left-hand corner of this box, I'm going to choose the isometric view with the dot in the lower right-hand corner of the block. I turn my coffee cup sleeve around, which allows me to put fillets on those two edges as well. So I'm going to put my cursor close to that, left click it, and watch it turn black around the whole circumference. I'm going to put my cursor as close as I can to the inner edge, left click that, and watch the black circle go around that. So at this point, I've got fillets applied on all four corners of my coffee cup sleeve. I click OK, and now if I look at this, I look at View and Measure. I left click on Rotate, bring my cursor into the operation panel, push the left button down, and I spin it around, and I see fillets are on all four edges. I'm going to save my work, so let me orient it by left clicking the front view, and let me save that model under Save. Now I've saved it as the '02 version. Now I'm going to go and create an '03 version so that if I make a mistake in the next phase, I can go recover my work from the '02 version. So I'm going to left click Save As. I'm going to change my '03 in the file name line to 3, and I'm going to push enter. Now the file name that I'm working on is called Coffee Cup Sleeve '03 with today's date. Now I'm going to put some lettering on the outside of the wall. It's as if I'm going to use a router, and I'm going to route the shapes of letters right through the wall. This particular program needs a plane with which to anchor that router, and that plane needs to be parallel to the YZ plane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Part Modeling. So I'm going to select Part Model. I'm going to select Plane, and I'm going to select it to the YZ plane, and I'm going to 47 millimeters from the YZ plane. And I'm going to increment it very quickly by holding the increment arrow down until it gets to 47 millimeters. And I'm going to select OK. Now I notice on my feature tree I've created a plane 3. So I'm going to activate my sketch again. I'm going to click on plane 3, and it's going to flip around. Since what I did before was a little confusing, let me just deactivate my sketch, go back to View and Measure. Let me select Rotate, and let me pan around so that you can see where this plane is just on the outside of the coffee cup sleeve. So I'm going to orient to plane again, to the plane 3, and hit OK. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Part Modeling. I'm going to activate Sketch, and I've selected plane 3, so I have the plane right in front of us that we want to anchor this router to. We're going to select a sketch figure, which is called a sketch text. So I'm going to left click that. I'm going to choose as my font stencil, because I need some letters where letters like O, there is material left in the middle of the O so that it looks like an O when I punch through it. So I'm going to select stencil. I'm going to make my letters bold, and I'm going through a round sleeve. So I'm going to make sure all my letters are centered or aligned in the center of the box. I'm going to select capital OLLI, Osher Lifelong Learning. So I hit lock, then I'm going to hit enter to go down to the second line, and I'm going to put in 3-D. And now the letters that I have, I'm going to pull them out from behind the box before I anchor them, and notice that they're too large to fit on the coffee cup sleeve and they're oriented incorrectly. So I'm going to reduce my size of my letters by decrementing the size box to 13 millimeters. Okay, I'm at 13 millimeters, and I'm going to, since I have two lines, I'm going to decrement the spacing between those two lines to 14 millimeters. Properly orient my lettering, I'm going to left click on the A pointing 90 degrees to the left. So I'm going to left click that. Now when I go place my letters on my coffee cup sleeve, they're the size that I can center. So I put them right in the center where I want them to be, and I left click them to anchor them, and then I hit apply and they turn red, telling me that they've been applied. So I close my dialog box, and now stay with me because we're almost through. I'm going to deactivate my sketch, and when I left click deactivate the sketch, look at what happens to those red letters. They turn it just into blue icons. Don't get concerned, they're actually still there. It's just the way the computer program works. I'm going to extrude cut through those letters by left clicking extrude cut. It changes my orientation, and I get a dialog box for the extrude cut function. Notice that the reverse is checked and the numbers are minus. We've anchored our router to a plane that's 47 millimeters from the center of this cup. And the depth of the wall is 5 millimeters. So I'm going to decrement this from 5 millimeters to 15 millimeters to make sure my router will go all the way through the wall, but not so far that it goes through the other side of this sleeve. You can see on the graphics that the letters have kind of moved, and there's an arrow pointing the direction toward the middle of the. That's what we want to do. We want to do it to a depth of minus 15 millimeters from plane 3. That looks good to us, so we're going to click on left click OK, and it shows up. So let's go back, look at view and measure. Let's left click on rotate, and let's pull the cursor down into the work plane, and let's hold down the left button and spin it around. And in fact, we've got letters that are ollie 3D all the way through the wall. It looks like we're in good shape. We'll go back and orient the sketch toward the XYZ plane with the front view, and we'll save our model just by hitting save. We've completed all of our work. I really enjoyed this, and I hope it was helpful to you. Thanks a lot for listening to me. Bye now.